everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the JTISREBORN movie reviews. And in today's video, we will be continuing our journey through the DCAMU as we take a look at the third entry in this universe with a review on Justice League: Throne of Atlantis. Released in 2015, Justice League: Throne of Atlantis serves as a sequel to Justice League War. It was directed by Ethan Spalding and has most of the voice cast coming back from Justice League War, although new voice actors came in to voice Superman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern. The film itself is a loose adaptation of the Throne of Atlantis story arc from the New 52 comics written by Jeff Johns, although there are some differences. Even though this is billed as a Justice League movie, it functions primarily as an Aquaman film. We dive a little bit into his origin story and get kind of a rough idea of who he is as a character. But due to the movie's shortened runtime and the fact that it also doubles as a Justice League film, the film falls a bit short as both a Justice League film and as an Aquaman film. I think it would have been a lot better had they just made this a solo Aquaman movie and kept the Justice League out of it, because the League's presence is kind of rendered useless by the time the climax rolls around. They really were not needed at all, because they all end up getting their asses handed to them so easily by Orm. Compare this to the climax of Justice League War, where it is a team effort and they all work in unison to take down Darkseid. That right there, that was a good way to utilize your entire roster and make them all seem useful in an ensemble film. Having the entire Justice League seem so weak just to make Aquaman and Orm seem so strong is a terrible idea. I get that Arthur is the main character in this film. It's primarily his story, and he should have a significant presence within the climax of the film, but you shouldn't have to make the others look so weak just to make him and Orm seem so strong. It makes you wonder, why do we even need a Justice League when Aquaman and his trident can make everybody else seem so insignificant? So as the movie begins, a nuclear submarine is attacked by a group of unknown attackers. This news is brought to the attention of the Justice League, prompting Cyborg to go and investigate the wreckage underwater. While doing so, he ends up being attacked, and so he calls in the rest of the League to help figure out what's going on. While the League is busy investigating, this is where we're introduced to Aquaman himself, Arthur Curry. When we first see Arthur, he is drinking his problems away and having a conversation with the lobster. I bring up the lobster part because of a line reference later on in the film. We get a quick fight sequence with the standout moment being the part where a guy tries to stab him with a knife, but the blade ends up being shattered in the process. Shortly after this, Arthur heads home to the lighthouse where he lives, where he's attacked by some Atlanteans, but is saved by Mira. Mira, like most DC heroines, is a total badass, and she gets some pretty cool action sequences that allow her to showcase her amazing powers. In the film, she was sent by Arthur's mother, Queen Atlanta, to bring him back to Atlantis because she believed him to be the key to bridging Atlantis and the surface world. Outside of that, she acts as a love interest to Arthur, and while they were together in the comics, the relationship here does feel really underdeveloped and kind of rushed. They barely know each other a day, and that is apparently all it takes. It just feels like the bare minimum was done with these two. Speaking of underdeveloped and poor romances, mind you, we also have Superman and Wonder Woman together in this movie. One of the worst things in this universe is probably the Superman and Wonder Woman relationship. They don't have any real good chemistry, and it feels very tacked on. Plus, we never really got to see it organically grow, and it just feels like they were kind of thrown together, just because. I personally don't like it, and I don't know many who do. Anyways, getting back to the plot, we are also introduced to the main villain of the movie, Orm, aka Ocean Master, along with Black Manta, and also Arthur and Orm's mother, Queen Atlanta, and wait, that's his mom? Are you sure? She looks like she could be his sister. They look practically the same age.
Dude! That chick's a MILF!
In terms of the villains, Orm is a very one-note type of villain, but he is at least entertaining. The guy who voices him, Sam Witwer, is clearly having a lot of fun hamming it up like crazy, but hamming it up can only get you so far. In terms of his motivation, he was upset over his father's death because of Darkseid's invasion, and has a vendetta against the surface world. He also dislikes what they do to the oceans, and fears that one day they will attack Atlantis. Now that motivation is fine, I just wish we could have explored his character more. For instance, what was his relationship like with his father? Why is Orm this stubborn and so one-note? We never actually got to see any of that and are not given the necessary amount of screen time to truly understand his character. I feel as though a longer runtime and more focus on his character would have helped to make him stand out more as a compelling villain. Anyways, so back to the plot. Queen Atlanta attempts to try and form a meeting with the surface world and broker peace, but is killed by Orm, allowing him to inherit the throne. Shortly after that, Aquaman, Mira, Wonder Woman, Superman, Cyborg, and Green Lantern arrive to confront him. And wait a minute, how are Superman and Wonder Woman able to speak underwater? They aren't Atlanteans and don't possess the magic of the trident which allows them to talk underwater. Plus, the other Justice League members need something over their mouths to speak underwater, so what gives? Why do they have special treatment? What's going on here? Before I move on any further, I want to mention another nitpick I have, and that's Atlantis itself. I find Atlantis to be very generic and very visually uninteresting to look at in this film. Compare this to the live-action Aquaman movie, which looked beautiful and visually stunning. And here the colors don't really pop all that much, and the designs aren't that unique or all that interesting. It just comes across as kind of bland. I think a little bit more color, a little bit of creativity with the designs would have helped to make Atlantis stand out a little bit more, because as it stands, it's just kind of bland and forgettable. Anyways, so Orm tells them all that he killed Queen Atlanta and manages to trap them all using the magic of the trident, which is something that only royalty can control. However, since Arthur is shown to be royalty, he breaks free and uses his powers to save the others. He also tells Mira that he can talk to fish now and that they understand him, which is kind of odd considering how earlier on in the film he was seen talking to a lobster. But then again, now that I think about it, he could have just been drunk and kind of talking to himself. So, yeah. But if he didn't, it's kind of a plot hole. So, yeah. Moving on. It is at this point where Orm brings his army to the surface world to attack. The Justice League shows up to confront him, and in probably the worst part of this movie, almost every one of them easily gets their asses handed to them by Orm. As I stated earlier, this is really dumb. Orm should not be able to take out the entire Justice League, let alone so easily. He's nowhere near the power level of somebody like Darkseid, and it's just really dumb. Like, why Orm, of all the villains, taking out the Justice League so easily? I get they want to make Aquaman look strong and have him deliver the final blow, but it's just stupid. It really undermines the presence of the Justice League when every single one of them can so easily be taken out by fucking Orm of all people. Orm! So after Orm kicks everyone's ass, well, everyone except for Batman, because, well, he's Batman. We can't have him look bad. We can have the other League members look bad, but we can't have Batman look bad. After Batman figures out that Cyborg is there to see Orm confess to killing Queen Atlanta, he thinks it was an effective strategy to defeat him. So while Orm was busy turning Arthur into a fucking kebab, Cyborg starts to broadcast a video of Orm confessing to killing his mom.
You killed her!
I did. I ran the sword through her myself as she mewed for peace. You can count yourself fortunate, bastard. At least our mother won't be the impediment to your life that she was to mine.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I spotted several big mistakes.
I
What
did.
is this?
Let's watch my favorite part again, shall we?
Anyways, so while Orm is distracted, Arthur comes in and surprise punches him. Keep in mind his stab wound he received from the trident earlier is nowhere to be found, even though we clearly saw him bleeding like a minute earlier. So after defeating Orm, Arthur gives some sort of speech where he's then accepted as King of Atlantis in a rather dull and uninteresting and underwhelming fashion. Then afterwards, we see a ceremony where he's officially given the crown with the Justice League in Atlantis watching it all happen. Keep in mind, this is at the bottom of the ocean, and somehow Batman is just standing there. How is this even possible? He's just standing there at the bottom of the ocean. Wouldn't his body not be able to handle the pressure of it all? I just don't understand it. Like, he's just casually standing there. How is this even possible?
Because I'm Batman. I'm Batman.
Oh, forget I asked. So the League decides to solidify their team, Arthur becomes a member, Cyborg mentions plans to build a watchtower, and the movie ends with Arthur and Mira going off to fight some trenchers. Then there is also a post-credit scene that features Lex Luthor offering a proposition for Orm. So that is basically the plot for Justice League Throne of Atlantis in a nutshell. And before I get to final thoughts, there's just a few other brief little things I want to mention before I conclude this video. Starting with Batman and Green Lantern, their dynamic is still good, but I am disappointed that they recast Green Lantern. Even though I like Nathan Fillion, and even though he has voiced Hal before, I thought that Justin Kirk gave the better performance in Justice League War. Not much else to say about these two, as they do not really do much else in this movie, aside from Batman doing a little bit of detective work, and Hal with the occasional quip and one-liner. Hal also has a dynamic going on with Barry. There's occasional quips and one-liners with each other, and they play pretty well off each other. However, Barry, like Hal, has next to no role in this film. You could take him out of it, and you really wouldn't be missing much. In fact, I sometimes forget that Barry's even in this film. When I go back and watch, I'm like, oh yeah, Flash was in there. Just he left such a little impact that I kind of forgot about him. There's also Shazam, who continues to get nerfed pretty badly in these movies, and watching him job out to Orm so easily really undermines him as a hero and makes him seem kind of useless. I don't see many Shazam fans being very happy with the way he gets treated in this movie. Aside from jobbing to Orm pretty badly, Shazam remains closest with Cyborg, building off the relationship that they had established with each other in the previous film. And speaking of Cyborg, let's talk about him next. When it comes to Cyborg, his character is still having issues with his dad, even though it seemed like they had worked out their issues in the last movie, but I guess not. In this film, he also has a subplot involving a scientist who wants to ride his cybernetic dick that ultimately culminates in them agreeing to go out to eat. Aside from that, you don't really get much else. We don't even see him resolve any issues he has with his dad. In fact, his dad isn't even in the movie, so it makes me wonder why they even bothered with mentioning it. When it comes to Wonder Woman and Superman, there isn't anything interesting surrounding them. The movie has them as a couple and not much else. I don't like the Superman and Wonder Woman relationship in general, so whenever we get any of these scenes of them together as a couple, it kind of drags the movie down for me. But I will give the movie this though, they are a lot more likable this time around as characters compared to their appearance in Justice League War. Black Manta is also in this movie, but he's kind of a side villain, and in a throwaway line he mentions that he was the one who manipulated Orm into conflict so that he could claim the treasures of Atlantis for himself. This is kind of a big revelation, and something that should have been explored more. Unfortunately, he is quickly taken out of the movie, so we never really get to see this plotline explored. The last person that I wanted to talk about was Arthur, seeing how he is the main character of the film. When it comes to Arthur Curry in this movie, his hero's journey is so rushed that you never really get the chance to feel the impact of it. He has a good starting point with that scene in the bar, but due to the movie's shortened runtime, you never really get to feel the impact of his changing character. It happens far too quickly. Even when he puts on the Aquaman armor for the very first time, it is so underwhelming. That should have been a grand and epic moment, but unfortunately falls a little short. Then at the end of the movie, after he defeats Orm and becomes king, I feel absolutely nothing. His story really needed a lot more time to be fleshed out, with a lot more focus if this movie were to succeed. But instead, this movie just rushes through all that development, leaving us with an underwhelming origin story. I remember being really excited to watch this movie back in 2015 after having enjoyed Justice League War the first time I saw it. However, even back then I was kind of disappointed in this movie. No matter how many times I watch it, I just can't really get into it. I don't hate it, but I don't really like it either. This movie had some potential, but it ultimately doesn't deliver a fully satisfying experience. Yes, there's some decent action sequences, a few funny bits as well, but that's not enough to save it. The movie is far too short and features a slew of underdeveloped characters. If this movie were longer and just a solo Aquaman movie with more focus, I think it would have been better off. But as it stands, I find it to be kind of a dull and forgettable film. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up for my review on Justice League Throne of Atlantis. I hope you all enjoyed this review. Let me know your thoughts on the film in the comments section down below. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Or are you kind of like me and you found it to be a little bit dull and underwhelming? I'm very curious to check out what the comment section says about this film, because it's kind of a forgotten film in terms of DC animated films. You never really see anybody talking about it all that much, so I'm curious. Maybe there's some fans out there that I'd be interested in having discussions with on the film. But anyways, that's going to be it for Throne of Atlantis. Be sure to come back next time when we continue our journey through the DC animated movie universe with a review of Batman vs. Robin. I should also mention, too, before I kind of end this video, that there is a deleted scene in Throne of Atlantis that ties into this film. It has Nightwing and Robin just stopping, like, the Scarecrow, and you also see Talon kind of watching them. Don't know how I was going to include that in this review, but I found a way to include it at the end, so I recommend checking it out. Maybe the clip's on YouTube or something, but yeah, just wanted to mention that. But anyways, next time we're going to be talking about Batman vs. Robin. I look forward to doing so. I kind of enjoy that movie a lot more than Throne of Atlantis. I think it's pretty good, but that one should be fun. So with all that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I got to go do some stuff, and I appreciate each and every one of you for checking out this video, staying through to the end. And I love all the comments, all the fun stuff, all the support. It means a lot. So anyways, if you're new to the channel, or if you're not, be sure to like this video, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, share this video around, and as always, take care now, bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.